Well, hey, what's up, church family? It's Brad. Today is the day, if you've checked the news or if you've checked social media or if you've listened to the radio on your way into work this morning, you know that today is the day that they are expecting and anticipating an announcement to be made from the Attorney General on the Breonna Taylor case. And here's what I want to encourage us to do. The more that I've thought about this, the more that I've sought the perspective from friends in communities of color, as well as friends who are in law enforcement. I mean, one of our neighbors around the corner for us is a J-Town police officer. The more I realize that what we as believers need to offer in this time is simply Jesus. And I want to encourage us to do that. And I want us to think about even, if Jesus were to show up here today, where would he be? And you can get that, or you can kind of get an idea of what that probably is, or the answer to that question if you think back to where Jesus would show up and the things that he would do and what he ultimately did on the cross, right? You see kind of where Jesus would position himself. And it was oftentimes in the middle, right? We talked about this a few months ago when we preached through some of this, just some of the divide, the racial divide, and how do we as a church step into that? What position do we take? And we take this position, the same position that Jesus took, which was in the middle, which strategically in a battlefield is the worst possible place that you could be, in the middle with no cover. But yet, that's where Jesus would often find himself, in between oppressors and the oppressed. And I think about Jesus on the cross, even as he hung on that cross. And who was he at that point? Kind of what was he in the middle of, right? He was in the middle at that point of sin and the punishment of sin and sinners, right? And the sinners in that case includes everybody from his own disciples, his best friends, his mom, to the religious people that got him nailed to that cross, and to the Roman government that actually did the nailing on the cross, right? All of those people were included in Jesus' sacrifice. He got in between the punishment of sin and all of those people, right? So Jesus gave the opportunities to the oppressed and to the oppressors. Jesus gave freedom to the oppressed, but he also offered mercy to the oppressors. And so today, as announcements are going to come out and people are going to respond and people are going to react and there's going to be protesting. I mean, that's the anticipation, right? We can anticipate, more of what we've seen. Here's what I'm challenging us to do as a church. Before you hop on social media to retweet or repost or share a post, one, fact check that, right? Fact check that before you shoot it out. Make sure that the information that you're going to shoot out is real, and it's not just someone else's hot take or their opinion. And the second one, and this is probably the most important thing, is before you offer a hot take or before you offer an opinion, offer Jesus, right? That's the most important thing, all right? Because I think we're at a place and we're at a time in our world and in our city where people care more about being right than they do about being Jesus. And so before you respond or react or post or whatever, even if you're not going to do that, right? That's okay. Here's what I would just challenge you to do. Number one, pray, right? Pray. Just pray for our city. Pray for the people in communities of color who are hurting, and hurting for all the right reasons, right? Or all the wrong reasons, but they're hurting, and their hurt is justified, right? In the sense of we get what they're going through. But we also want to pray for our friends, the men and women in law enforcement who are good people, who wear a badge to make communities better. Right? We want to pray for them. We want to pray for our city and government leaders, whether we like them, whether we voted for them or not. Right? We want to be able to pray for them. So that's my challenge, is before you do anything, just pray. And when you pray, maybe ask for some perspective. Maybe reflect on the fact that, maybe I don't know what other people are feeling, and admit that. And it's okay to admit that, to know that I can do that, right? I don't know what my friends who have lived in communities of color have felt and have lived with. I can't identify with that because of the color of my skin, right? There's just some things I can't identify with, right? And it's okay to admit that. So pray, and when you pray, ask for perspective. But when you pray, ask for healing. Ask for a movement of Jesus, a movement of the Spirit in our city. And ultimately, at the end of the day, my hope is for us as a church that what we are able to offer people, whether it's through social media or whether it's through our interactions with our neighbors, that what we're able to offer people is Jesus before we offer our opinion. So that's a challenge today, church. I know that this is, as far as our city is concerned, I mean, all the eyes of the world are going to be on Louisville for the next few weeks and maybe even months. And we're going to see all kinds of responses and reactions to what's coming today. But in that, as all eyes are on us, what I hope and what I pray is, and I'm not doing this because, I'm not saying this because I want, people to see, look at this church in J-Town, right? No, but that they would see a community of believers. Doesn't matter what church you go to, but a community of believers that would say, hey, I'm going to offer you Jesus first before I offer anything else. I'm going to put opinions and hot takes and all that kind of stuff aside. And what I'm going to offer is prayer. What I'm going to offer is Jesus. And what I'm seeking to be and become is like him. So I just want to challenge us today with that, church, and to know that how we step into this and what we are offering people in this, it matters. And so just want to challenge you today to do that, but also just to be praying for our city and praying for people in our city, and ultimately learning what it's like to be and become more like Jesus. Have a great day. See you all. Peace.